In the 1950s, a university degree was rare enough to carry immense scarcity value. Today, a steady global expansion has flooded the workforce with graduates, turning what used to be an exclusive fast track into a crowded, high-debt baseline expectation. We tend to treat enrolling in a four-year college as an automatic, universally safe financial decision. But when you apply standard economic modeling to the modern costs of attendance, that universal assumption breaks down. Take a look at this comparison table. The baseline financial cost of a traditional four-year bachelor's degree sits around $127,000. A two-year trade or vocational degree, by comparison, costs about $33,000. That tuition gap is substantial, but Nobel-winning economist Gary Becker argued that looking only at the tuition receipt misses the bulk of the financial burden. Becker pointed out that 75% of the private cost of education is actually wrapped up in opportunity cost. That is the actual income you forego by sitting in a lecture hall instead of entering the workforce. Let's do the math on that. A young high school leaver earns a median salary of $30,000 a year. Multiply that by 4 years of college, and you are sacrificing $120,000 in lost wages just for the privilege of studying. When you combine lost earnings with tuition, committing to a 4-year degree is roughly a $250,000 gamble. To justify taking on that specific risk, you need a guaranteed high-yield outcome. When the financial stakes reach this level, the outcome of the investment begins to vary wildly based on the student's personal profile. Because students have different learning styles and career goals, the traditional 4-year path cannot be treated as a universal solution. Higher education delivers highly reliable benefits for individuals who are heavily academically oriented. But for those with different skill profiles, forcing a traditional college route can be a disaster. To figure out your exact return on investment, we need to evaluate 3 distinct models: the corporate track, the entrepreneurial path, and the at-risk pragmatic route. College is not a universal necessity. It is a highly specialized financial tool that will either accelerate or impair your progress, entirely depending on your personal profile. This quadrant chart maps where you sit. The x-axis measures academic tolerance. The y-axis measures risk tolerance. With high academic and low risk tolerance, you land on the corporate track, willing to invest 4 years and $100,000. Economist Michael Spence developed a framework to explain exactly what you are purchasing with that time and money. He called it signaling. Spence argued the knowledge gained from studying abstract models in psychology or economics rarely translates into specific daily tasks at a corporate job. Instead, your degree acts as a signal to human resources that you have the endurance to learn, follow rules, and survive corporate life. It is a highly effective signal. Securing it yields a median salary of nearly $50,000, which is 66% higher than high school grads, and it grants you a baseline unemployment rate of just 2.7%. But buying that security comes with a hidden trade-off, outlined by political economist Lester Thurow. Thurow noted that the majority of actual workplace skills are acquired through direct on-the-job training. 4 years in a classroom means 4 years completely isolated from building those practical skills. On the corporate track, you are effectively buying a powerful risk reduction signal for employers, even if it intentionally delays your actual practical skill development.
Now, let's look at the highly independent viewer who lacks academic interest but wants to build a business. That puts you in the top left quadrant, the entrepreneurial path. The immediate advantage of skipping a 4-year degree is capital fluidity. As the Federal Reserve Bank points out, heavy student debt is a massive drag on small business formation. By avoiding college, your capital remains free to invest directly into your venture. You also preserve a non-monetary asset, the ability to navigate problems without the narrow focus often encouraged by rigid, formal academic curriculums. Even John Maynard Keynes, whose work redefined macroeconomics, built his career almost entirely on the job, taking little more than 8 weeks of formal training. But relying purely on entrepreneurial drive exposes you to a severe downside risk, the under-education penalty. If your venture fails, you are forced back into the traditional job market without the safety net of a degree signal. That subjects you to a harsh 7.4% baseline unemployment rate. Skipping college maximizes your financial and creative freedom on day one, but it completely removes your corporate safety net if your primary venture collapses. That brings us to the most dangerous profile,
the viewer with low academic drive who enrolls in a university solely due to societal expectation. You sit in the bottom left quadrant. By committing to a demanding 4-year curriculum without internal motivation, you carry an incredibly high statistical probability of dropping out before completion. Professor Pedro Carneiro describes this outcome as the worst of both worlds. You accumulate massive financial debt and lose years of potential earnings, but you walk away without the critical degree signal required to get a high-paying job. If you are unsure about your academic endurance, you must look at the pragmatic alternative, a 2-year trade or vocational program. This path slashes your tuition costs down to $33,000 and puts you into the workforce 2 years earlier, allowing you to rapidly build what economist Jacob Mincer called on-the-job human capital. There is a trade-off. Sociologist Pierre Bourdieu noted that traditional universities build social capital, factors like elite networking and cultural prestige, that vocational tracks rarely provide. But for the unmotivated student, giving up that networking prestige to secure a cheaper, faster vocational track is mathematically superior to gambling on a 4-year degree and falling into the dropout trap. You cannot base a $250,000 decision on what your classmates are doing. You have to evaluate your own motivations brutally against the data. This flowchart breaks down your next steps. Ask yourself, are you academically oriented, and do you require the stability of a corporate career? If yes, the high return on investment of a 4-year degree entirely justifies the tuition cost. Go to college. If no, ask the secondary question. Do you have the drive and immediate plans to start your own business? If yes, skip the 4-year degree. Avoid the debt drag, keep your capital fluid, and begin building your business immediately. If you answered no to both, you are in the danger zone. Do not enroll blindly. Pause, look at vocational alternatives, and protect your future earnings. A university degree does not magically grant you career skills. It is an expensive, highly effective tool, but knowing your exact profile before you buy it is the only way to ensure it doesn't become a lifelong burden.